Okay. So number one says to factor completely. What do I need to do in order to factor that? Yes, we're gonna check it for GCF. Is there anything that goes into all four terms? Nope, no GCF. So then I'm gonna do my area model by box. So 2x cubed goes here. Negative 6x squared. 1x. And negative 3. 2 boxes at a time. These top two, what can I take out of both of those? Let's take a 2x squared out. What about the bottom two? 1. Positive or negative 1? Positive 1. So here's a factor that we just found. So 2x squared plus 1, pop it inside parentheses. Then we're going to go the other direction. So vertically, I'm looking at these two now. What do they have in common? They have an x in common. And this direction, negative 6x squared and negative 3. Negative 3 is the biggest thing they share. So x minus 3. Remember, it's a negative 3 because it takes the sign here. Now I have to make sure that it's fully factored before I call that my final answer. Are there any x squareds left in what I did?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna look right here. How many terms does it have? 2 terms. Is there anything that you can multiply by itself and get 2?
No.
No. So I'm done. It is fully factored now. Number 2, my directions were slightly different. What are the directions on number 2? Solve. So I'm going to start it the same way. I still have to check it for a GCF. I still need to factor it. But what will I do with those factors once I have factored it? Set them equal to 0. Absolutely. Do we have a GCF here?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, nothing goes into 3 and 7 at the same time. So no GCF for all 4 of my terms. And I'm going to draw my area model. Draw that box. I have 3x cubed, 7x squared, negative 12x, and negative 28 inside my area model here. Just like before, 2 boxes at a time now. These top 2 right here, what do they have in common?
I mean,
Does 3 go into 7?
oh, no.
So just what? Just x squared. Down at the bottom, negative 12x, negative 28. What's the biggest thing that they share? The biggest thing that goes into both of us? Negative how much? Negative 4. So x squared minus 4 is one of my factors. 12 does not go into 28. Let's go the other direction now. 3x cubed and negative 12x. Biggest thing they have in common. 3x. Here's where I can take the 3 out because it goes into both this and it goes into this. Then I go this way. 7x squared and negative 28. What's the biggest thing that goes into both of those? 7. Positive or negative 7? Positive. So 3x plus 7. This was equal to 0, so mine has to be equal to 0. Is this fully factored? Do I have any x squareds left at all? I have an x squared left. Looking at that, What would you multiply by itself to get x squared? X. What would you multiply by itself to get 4? Two. So I can factor this. This is a difference of 2 squares. I'm gonna have 2 factors here from this. X times x gives me x squared, 2 times 2 gives me 4. But that's a negative 4, not a positive 4. Minus and plus. Bring down my other factor here. 3x plus 7. Whole thing's equal to 0. What do I do with each of those 3 factors now? Set them all equal to 0 individually. So I'm going to bring that work over here. I have x minus 2 equals 0. I have x plus 2 equals 0. And I have 3x plus 7 equals 0. Did you change the 12 like it said? Yours has a 4 right here. You need to change that to 12.
Oh.
Yep. If you don't change that, then you're gonna have something different than mine. I'm gonna solve each one of those factors now. What do I do here to this one? To get the x all by itself? Add 2 to both sides. So I have x equals what? X equals 2. What do I need to do to the middle one to get the x all by itself? Subtract 2 from both sides, yes. So x equals -2. Couple extra steps to do on this last one. What do I do here to work on getting the x all by itself now? Subtract 7 from both sides. So I get 3x equals -7. And divide both sides by 3. Can I divide 7 evenly by 3? Nope, then I'm just gonna leave it as a fraction, -7/3, and call it done. We've got today for me to answer any questions you guys have off of that review / homework packet. This is the one that has the turkey in the corner. There are 7 problems, some of them have a couple parts to them. But, you guys like to see, yes ma'am. Number 4, absolutely. So number 4, if you remember from the other day, I told you number 4 had a typo on it. This right here should not have been a 4. This whole thing right here should have been x minus 10. So this one right here was wrong. Should have been x minus 10. No, it's just the one with the turkey in the corner of the homework packet. All right. So looking at this, now that I know what's actually going to be there. I'm in factor form. I can use factor form just like we did on the bell work to figure out where my solutions, where my x-intercepts are. So I can take like this one right here. What would I do with x plus 1 if I wanted to know where the x-intercepts were? Yep, I need to set it equal to 0 first. And then I would subtract 1 from both sides. If the x equals -1, that would be an x-intercept. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this guy. X minus 10, we're gonna set that equal to 0. So I would add 10 to both sides. If the x equals 10, that's another x-intercept. How many x-intercepts did we identify?
2.
2. So I see a graph right away that I can definitely throw out. Which graph do I see that I'm like, nope? D. C only looks like it has 1. We'll talk about C in a minute, but this guy is just a straight line. This has only 1 x-intercept. And we'll throw this one out. We'll talk about C last. I'm gonna go look at the other 2. Look at graph A. Where are the x-intercepts on graph A? Hard to see the numbers on my screen, but if you look at your papers, +10, which I like. And then this other one is +1, which I don't like, because why? It's supposed to be a -1, so let's throw this one off. What about this graph? Where are those x-intercepts? 0 and 1. I don't like either one of those. But then I come down here to C. I only see 1 x-intercept on there, just this guy right here. X equals 10, but what do you notice about the other side? They're not showing me the other x-intercept. What about if I finish drawing that side of the parabola thing? What do you think it would look like? -1. Okay, equals -1. This is my graph right here.
Oh.
What is this supposed to be a graph of? I want to figure out why they didn't draw that in. Go up and read up at the top. Rocket. What are we measuring on the x-axis?
The line.
Seconds. X seconds. Right here. So that's what's on the x-axis. So we have seconds down here. What are they measuring on the y-axis? The height in what? Any ideas? In feet. Why do you think they didn't draw in the rest of that parabola? What are we measuring on the x-axis again? Seconds. Can't be negative seconds. Time doesn't have negative, right? So that's why they didn't draw that in, because time starts at 0. But if I drew the rest of that in, it would have hit at -1. The rocket hit the ground after how many seconds? 10 seconds. And it reached a maximum height of what? 15 feet.
Wait,
That's exactly right. Right up here is our maximum. So we're gonna track that over to figure out what the height is there. This is where that 15 is. Yes, sir.
but I thought since it started -5, and then it's -15.
So if you read up at the story up above, why did it start at 5 feet? In our very first sentence, end of the first sentence. It was on top of a little hill. And that hill above normal ground level was 5 feet up. So it wasn't a very big hill. But they shot the rocket off the top of the hill that was 5 feet up, and then it went up. From ground level, it hit a maximum height of 15 feet. And then it came down and it hit the ground. Or we could have said we shot it off of a platform or something. That makes sense? What else would you guys like to look at on here? I'm gonna say this is number 5. Sounds good. So look at number 5. So I was not informed of this until yesterday.
Let me find
You
out.
guys. You get this on the back.
Whoa.
This is the form. Yeah.
So you get this out.
Yes, to help you. So let's talk about how to actually use it. You're still gonna need your soap. First thing I always look for is what? GCF. Does part A have a GCF? Anything that goes into both parts? No, nope, no GCF here. Right? I use soap next. We're gonna have a small set of parentheses and a big set of parentheses. We always do small at first. And then the big one. Soap helps me figure out what? What do you say? Yeah, how to set up the signs. So what does the S in soap stand for again? Same. Same. So what sign goes here? Negative. If it's the same as my original problem. And then what do I put here? Because it's opposite. Because it's opposite, and then my last sign will always be positive. All right. Now we need to figure out A and B, and this is where it will help you up above. It says I have something cubed. I need to figure out what that something is, because that's going to go in here. So I need to do the cubed root of 8x cubed. That will be my A. Well, I know the x cubed part. What's the cubed root of x cubed? X. What's the cubed root of 8? 2. So 2x. So coming up here, anywhere I see an A, I can put a 2x in it. I have a 2x right here. What's supposed to go right here? A squared, but I have 2x as my A. I need to take that and square it, and you can multiply it by itself. 4 x squared, yes. Yep, we need to do the cube root of the 27 also. That will tell me my B. Get this 3.
Michael, why?
I'm gonna put a 3 here. What goes back here?
Not why?
3 squared, yes. B squared, so I'm gonna take 3 and square it, so 9. You guys are absolutely correct. What goes in the middle? Do we add it? Multiply, yeah, see, I've got A and B right here. So we're gonna multiply A and B together. Yep, 2x times 3,
I'll be right, right?
we have 6x. Do you guys wanna do speed and C also, or do you wanna save those and check them against my answer key? It's gonna be posted here at the end of the month. Sounds good. What else would you guys like to work on while we're still in class today? Yeah, absolutely. Number 3, there's 2 parts to 3. There's one on the front and one on the back. You guys want me to do just one of them or both of them? All right. We're gonna start with the one that's on the front side, on the turkey side. All right, so starting on the turkey side. First thing I want is the roots. Where do I look on the graph for roots? Where it crosses the x-axis, yeah, my x-intercept. So right here, right here, right here. Yep, x equals -3, x equals -1. And x equals 2. Leading coefficient, is that a positive or a negative leading coefficient? Positive, how do we know? Right side is up. So for my factored form, you need to start this with either f of x equals or y equals, but your form has to have an equal sign. I'm fine if you use y equals, but we gotta have something with an equals. We said it's a positive leading coefficient. Give me a positive number that we can put there. Love it. Do you have to go to 1? Nope. Will it make your work easier if you choose 1? Yes, it will. All right, we had 3 x-intercepts, so we're gonna have 3 factors. How do I find the factors? All I have is the x-intercept. Yes, I have x equals -3 right now. I need it equal to 0. Add 3 to both sides. So x plus 3 is a factor. X plus 3. Do the same thing with x equals -1. Add 1 to both sides. So x plus 1 equals 0. This part right here is a factor. And then x equals 2, do I add 2 to both sides? Subtract 2. If I add 2 to both sides, it won't cancel, but if I subtract 2, it will. X minus 2 equals 0. So here, we say factor. I'll come in and do standard form in just a minute, but let's do our end behavior first. This right here is asking me about which end. Right side. What is the right side doing? It's going up. So we're looking on the line. Positive infinity. What about this? What does that say? Left. And left is doing what? Going down from negative infinity. All right, let's go do standard form now. I use my factored form to get my standard forms. So I'm going to start with that. F of x equals 1 times x plus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. I'm looking at just 2 of these at a time. I'm going to multiply just these 2 together. So I'm going to distribute x times x. You get x squared. X times 1. That would make me 1x. And then I still have to distribute this 3 to both pieces. 3 times x. That's 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. Still have this 1 out in front that we haven't touched yet, and I still have this x minus 2 at the back that we haven't touched yet. Are there any like terms inside my purple parentheses? What are they? 1x plus 3x. What do I get when I combine those together?
4x. Oh,
Look, not quite. 4x. When are my exponents allowed to change?
when you multiply.
When I'm multiplying. Here I'm not multiplying, I'm just adding, so only the coefficients are allowed to change. Alright, I'd like to take care of this 1 next. What happens if I distribute the 1? Stays exactly the same. X squared plus 4x plus 3. That's why I like having a 1 there. Because nothing changes. If it's a positive leading coefficient, you're always allowed to do 1. If it's negative, you can go negative. So it would be almost the same, except everybody signs it. Yep. Alright, so how do I multiply these two together? I have a trinomial and a binomial. What's something that helps me multiply those?
The box.
Area model here. So x squared, 4x and 3. X minus 2. All right, rows and columns. What's x times x squared? X cubed. X times 4x. 4x squared. X times 3. 3x. Now across the bottom, negative 2 times x. Negative 2x squared. Sorry, you're right. It's squared. I forgot to say that. Negative 2 times 4x. Negative 8x. And negative 2 times 3. Negative 6. What like terms are we going to have? X squares are going to combine. And my x's are going to combine. Right. I'm ready to write down my standard form. F of x equals, did I have a like term for my x cubed? Nope, so I just write down x cubed. What do I get when I combine my x squareds together? Negative or positive? Why is it positive?
So that's like 4 minus 2.
That is like 4 minus 2, yes. Yep. Negative 8x and 3x, I'm gonna combine those together and get what? Negative 5x. Then we end with minus 6. There's my standard form. Let's go do the one on the back. How many x-intercepts are there on the one on the back? 5. Good, we got 5 roots here. There's one here, 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 and here. I'm gonna write all of those down. No particular order. I have x equals 0, x equals 2, x equals negative 2, x equals 3, x equals negative 3. Yeah. Leading coefficient, positive or negative? Negative. How did you know? Right side points down. All right, let's write our factors form. F of x equals, what do I need after my equal sign? Negative 1 or negative anything, but I think negative 1 is the easiest. Can they let us choose on this? And now I need to get my factors. Factors, I need equal to 0. Notice that this one right here is already equal to 0. So he is a factor, just like that. So you have to put just the x. I don't need the equal sign, I just need this. This is a factor. So after the negative 1, I have an x. X equals 2, what will my factor be? Not 2 minus x, but close. X minus 2. Because if I subtract 2 from both sides, I get x minus 2 equals 0. So that would be a factor there. What about for this guy? X plus 2. If I would add 2 to both sides there. Well, this one. X minus 3. I would have to subtract 3 from both sides to get it equal to 0, so there's another factor. And the last one. Not x equals 3, remember I don't have equal signs. So x plus 3. Yep. I want it equal to 0, but I don't put the equals part in my equation, because I already have an equal sign in my equation. That's that f of x part. Here's another factor. So 5 factors all together here. We'll come to the standard form in a minute. Let's go to our end behavior first. This end is asking me about right side. What is our right side doing? Going down, so it's going to be negative infinity. And this over here? Left side is pointing up, so we're going to positive infinity. Yes. All right. Standard form. Looks beastly. Turns out not quite as bad as it originally looks. So let's start off with our factor form. F of x equals, I've got -1, and then x minus 2, x plus 2, x minus 3, x plus 3. I'm going to multiply these two together first, and because I have another group right next to it, I'm going to multiply these two together at the same time. Like I'm going to do one then the other, so I have them on the same line. So x times x, get x squared. X times 2 gives me what? 2x. Now I have to distribute this -2. What's -2 times x? -2x. -2 times +2? Negative, just -4, because it's -2 times +2. That's okay. Do I have any like terms in there that I should be combining? X is right here. What happens when I combine those together? They cancel out. So I end up just with, okay, x squared minus 4, only 2 terms. I've got this -1x, still just coming along for the ride here. And let's multiply that other set of parentheses that I put red around. X times x, you get x squared. Then I have x times 3, which is what? X times 3? 3x. -3 times x. -3x. And last but not least, -3 times +3. Minus, yep, you were right, -9. Are there any like terms that I can find there? Yep, I can cancel out the 3x and the -3x. So I just have x squared minus 9. I have to multiply these two together. I'm going to do x squared times x squared. What's x squared times x squared? X to the 4th power. I have x squared times -9. So minus 9x squared, yeah. -4 times x squared. -4x squared. -4 times -9. Positive or negative 36? Positive 36. Right, I still have this -1 out of the front. I'm going to stop writing the -1 in yellow because I feel like it's part of the scene. Are there any like terms inside those purple parentheses that I need to combine? The x squared, what happens when I combine those together? Negative 13x squared. Now, what's the last thing I need to do? Times this negative 1x to everybody. What is negative 1x times x to the fourth? Negative x to the fifth. Oh, yeah. That's okay. What is negative 1x times negative 13x squared? Positive 13x cubed. And negative 1x times 36. Negative 36x. You guys go. There is my standard form. And if you can do that, you will rock the test. All right.
Mine definitely goes back. Oh, we don't like that.
What else do you guys want to see? You have the notes. You need to study those. 7B, absolutely. All right. Can we go on over what it is? Yes, we can absolutely do that. All right, 7B. What do we call this thing right here? There's just one term. Over the M. Close. Wrong class, though. Monomial. This is a monomial. So when we divide by a monomial, we're going to treat this just like a GCF. Like when we go to take out a GCF. That's okay, people will speak sometimes. Make fun of them about it. All right, so 3 to the fourth is going to go on the bottom, just like I'm taking it out like a GCF. And then I'm going to write down what I've got left over when I do that. Can I divide 32 by 3 and get a whole number? No, then I'm just going to leave it as 32 and 3, because I can't even reduce that at all. What about my x's though? Can I do something about the x's? X to the 6th power, yes, we do subtract. Can I do 72 divided by 3? It is 24. The 24x to what power? X squared. Can I do 12 divided by 3? 12 divided by 3 is 4. Yeah, I've got that minus sign in there. That's going to go up at the top of my fraction because the 12 was bigger than the 3. What happens to the x to the 4th though? It's going to be at the bottom. It's going to be at the bottom. That is my final answer. Yep. If you can't get a whole number out of it, just leave it as a fraction. Actually, yeah, keep it as it's kind of, they were using a contest with bottle flipping for like to collect data for a statistics class. If you didn't know how to do it. And other students had to teach you how to do it.
You see it, man?
Yes. You could have calculated
Once you made it fast, you got a math degree without that.
without bottle flipping.
No, whatever.
You got an accident, you got one. No, she was using it to collect data so the students could learn about statistics from the results of the model. All right, 5 parts T. Back here. Woo, yeah, because that number right there is huge. Let's do the cube roots.
That's like, wait, do we have calculators?
Yes, you may use
Oh, yeah.
calculators. Yes, it is. So that's going to be 7x. What is the cube root of 1?
1.
1. Right, so I also need soap for this. I can get my signs right. Right, little set of parentheses. What's gonna go inside the little set? A negative, the original one. So I've got 7x and I've got a 1. So 7x minus 1 is what goes inside the first one. Second set of parentheses. What signs do I have? Positive and a positive. All right, so I have to take this, remember, this is a squared. What was a again? 7x, so I have to take that and I need to square it. 144, that would be 12. There we go, so 49x. And then in the middle, I'm gonna do a times b.
97.
Is it negative or is it positive? Positive, it's 7x, remember, get the signs. Okay. Got it. And then over here, we have b squared, which is gonna be what? 1. What else do you guys want to see? We still have 8 minutes. Number 6. Number 6 is a lot like the bell word, like the second one on the bell word back. I'm gonna do my area model.
That's all.
Yep. That's our everything.
So you do a box. I put negative x in the bottom right. X cube and top left, and then 2x squared and top right, and then negative 9x.
Absolutely, yep. What can I take out of these two then?
X.
Take
X
out
squared.
x squared, yes. What about these two?
9.
Positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative 9, yep. All right, so I have x squared minus 9. Ooh. We should have done something at the very beginning. Look for the GCF. It doesn't have one. You're absolutely correct. I always like to write it down though, so that we know for sure that we checked that condition. All right, let's go this way now. What can I take out of these two?
X.
Okay. And this way?
2.
2. Positive 2 or negative 2? Positive 2. Here's my other factor, x plus 2. Is this fully factored? No. Which one can I factor more?
X squared.
X squared minus 9. This one right here. What times what gives you x squared? X times x. What times itself gives you 9? 3. How do I get negative 9?
Negative.
Negative 3 and positive.
Negative 3 and positive 3.
I thought he was on the right. I didn't also have
He is.
Oh, my man. I didn't realize. I thought it was.
No.
Wait, you gotta find the roots, right?
Yep.
Yeah, let's see.
Because it says factor and solve and solutions. Give me synonyms for solutions.
Root.
Root,
X
x-intercept,
0.
0. Yes, solutions, roots, x-intercept, zeros. If there's nothing else that you learned from me for semester algebra 2, you know those synonyms that will take you far. What do I do with those?
So x minus 3 with x minus 3 equals 0. And then you're gonna add the 3 to negative 3 and 0. So then you get 6.
X equals 3.
For x plus 3 equals 0. You subtract 3 and 0 by 3. And the x equals negative 3. And then x plus 2 equals
X plus 2 do the same thing. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. We get x equals -2. Absolutely correct. You guys wanna see me do the other one, or you wanna check it against my answer key? Sounds good. Is there anything else that you guys want to see me do before our time to review together is up? I'm still available during the lunch. Anything else that you want to see me do? So in that case, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording us, and I'm going to my computer and I will post the answer key. You recorded us? I recorded the class period so that I can post it, but it doesn't show anything. It's voices and it's.
Anything when I talk? I don't know.
No, I already do.
There you go.
I was literally, no, you did it, where?
Like, yeah, I had some money on it.
You got it.
Problem like this.
I'll let you.